It's Tuesday. You know what that means? Yeah, you do. I got a new tool for you guys. So in today's video, I'm gonna be reviewing and talking to you guys about this Capri. Let's try that again. I'm gonna be talking to you guys about this Capri brake bleeder tool that is super handy. So the reason why I'm saying that it's super handy is because you can do a full 4-corner brake bleed in less than 10 minutes with this setup. Now what's really sick is that you can not only do this at home, you can do this at work, but you only need one person to get this done. What you're pretty much doing is you're eliminating the person that's inside the car that needs to press the brake pedal. So with this kind of setup, you're literally sucking all the air and fluid out of the brake lines. So if you have any air in the system, it'll literally pull it right out of the lines. There's no person inside the car that's got to smash the brake pedal 1,000 times to get all that fluid out. All that you need to get this to work is an air compressor, so you can hook up the connector on the end of it. You pull this little trigger and it sucks everything out of it. It's super sick. Now you can use this if you're working with slider calipers or fixed calipers. If you have a single piston caliper, a dual, a quad, or even a 6-piston, this kit will get the job done, and it does a great job at it. Literally every single time that I've got to do brakes on a car, I'll bring this thing out because it's a lot easier than getting someone else to help me pump the brakes on the car. It's really sick because you're not getting your hands dirty. All that you need is the 10 mil to crack the brake leader loose, or an 8 mil or whatever size it is, an airline, and this guy here, and you can do a full 4-corner brake bleed in less than 10 minutes. If you're ever doing a brake service on your car where you're taking the caliper off, where you're taking your brakes off, or you're taking anything apart, it's not a half bad idea when you put everything back together to bleed the braking system. So you're gonna be removing any air that's introduced into the system, you're gonna be removing all the old fluid that's in there, and you can replace it with all new stuff. To make your life a little bit easier, you can turn the steering wheel in the direction of the side that you're working on so that you have better access to the back side of the caliper, or wherever the brake bleeder screw is. Before you get working, you want to open up your master cylinder to make sure that you have enough brake fluid in there. So we're going to be removing some fluid from the vehicle. You want to make sure that you have enough in here so that you're not going to be running the master cylinder dry. So what I have right here is some Motul RBF 600 DOT4 brake fluid. I'm going to be removing all the DOT3 brake fluid that's found inside the vehicle, and I'm going to be replacing it with DOT4. Now this is a much higher temperature brake fluid, which means the brakes can get hotter without having the brake fluid boiling. So open this up, remove the top, and then make sure that this is topped up. And then we can move to the wheel well to get started on the brake bleeding procedure. So let me show you how easy it is to use this tool here. So on the back side of the tool, you'll have your airline connector right there. So you grab your airline, and you just connect it to the back side of it. Now you don't really need a really big compressor to get this done. You only need a compressor that will flow air. So by flowing the air across the top of this, it'll pull a vacuum from inside of this canister, which is where this connector is attached to. So when you pull this trigger, air goes by and it creates suction on here. Now that you know how to use this, we're gonna attach this end here up to the bleeder screw found on the brake caliper. So let me show you how simple it is to bleed the brakes. So first off, you're gonna remove the little dust boot that's covering up the bleeder screw found on top. Now for this caliper, this is an 8mm bleeder screw. So you have an 8mm wrench, put it on here like this, and you wanna put it so you have enough room that you can twist the whole thing and not have to take this off, because what we're going to do is put it like that, and then we're gonna attach this attachment on top, which is going to be able to suck all the brake fluid out of here. So to make this a one-person job, once you pull this trigger, you can bring this little clip forward and it will hold this in the suction position. So this will constantly pull air through here, which will create suction from the brake line, and it's going to bleed the brakes. Whenever you're done, just push the little clip back, like that, and then it shuts off. So before I actually go ahead and turn this, I'm gonna tell you what I'm going to do. So I'm gonna pull down on the trigger on the Capri tool. It's gonna be pulling air from this, and then we're gonna turn the bleeder screw so that fluid will be able to come out through this line. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Once that's done, you just want to make sure this is tight. Doesn't have to be super snug because at that point you might strip the threads. Take that off, put your cap back on top, and then we're done. Now after you've pulled the brake fluid into this hose, you want to remove it and evacuate it from the hose. So what you can do is just keep pulling the trigger, or what I like doing is pushing this down so it's sucking in air, and then spraying a little bit of brake cleaner in the line. And then at that point, if you want to, you can remove the line completely from the canister, and you can see there's no brake fluid left inside the lines. Now once that's done, you can disconnect that from our air line, and you can see that at the bottom of the canister, it's holding all of our brake fluid inside of here. So this tool here will hold up to 1.5 liters of brake fluid before you need to go ahead and empty this thing out. You can do multiple cars and not have to worry about emptying this after every single one. Now to evacuate all that brake fluid that you now have inside this canister, all you do is you lift up this little cap, twist it up. It should slide right out, and there's a little O-ring on it to make sure that it has a good seal. And then you just pour this back into an old brake fluid container, and then you recycle this. Now, what's really sick is that because this tool has an angled attachment to it, you can do this entire procedure with the wheel still attached to the car. So because the line comes out and it comes straight down, you can attach this on the car, you can bleed all the brakes without removing the wheels. How awesome is that? So if you can get access to the bleeder nipple found on the top of the caliper, and you have enough room inside the wheel to get access to it, you can bleed the entire braking system through here. You don't need to remove the wheel from the car to get to it. Now you can get to it from the front side of the wheel or even the back side, whatever is easier for you guys. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this without the wheel on, but you can definitely do it with it still attached to the vehicle. Now my favorite part about this tool is that if you want to evacuate all the fluid that's inside either your clutch or your brake master cylinder, you don't need to flush all the fluid out. You don't need a turkey baster to try and pull it out. You can use this to literally suck the entire thing dry of the fluid. You literally stick the hose into the master, squeeze the trigger, and it'll evacuate all the fluid that's in there. Now just some final things to note before I finish up this video. You don't want to let the master cylinder run dry. So if you guys do remove all the brake fluid from it, you're actually going to be reintroducing air back into the lines when you go ahead to bleed your brakes, either the front ones or the rear ones. So whenever you're done with one corner, you want to go back to the master and top it up. Now the same thing goes for the clutch master cylinder. So this here basically runs the same kind of fluid as your brakes, and you can bleed the entire clutch mechanism in this same setup. So you'd fill it up over here at the master, and then you'd go down to the slave and you'd bleed it from there. So for the slave cylinder, if you want to bleed this, it has the same kind of bleeder screw and dust boot cap found on the end of it. So you'd bleed this in the same manner as your brakes. You should also plan on replacing your brake fluid every 2 to 3 years. However, it should be more frequently if you drive your car harder than that. The more you work the brake fluid, the faster it's going to break down. So if you plan on tracking your vehicle, I would replace the brake fluid after every track day. Considering how cheap brake fluid is, this is a great way to bring your brake pedal feel back to life. Bleeding both your braking system and your clutch system has never been easier until this kit has come out. There's also multiple different lengths of the hoses that you guys can purchase in addition to this kit. So the standard kit comes with a 3-foot hose. You can purchase one that's slightly bigger than that. So if you have the tool on the ground, you can work on it up should the vehicle be up on a hoist. If you guys want to pick up any of the tools that I used today, you guys can check the description box. As always, I have links directing you right to Amazon. If you guys like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share this with your buddies. Don't forget to click that subscribe button so you guys stay notified for every new Tool Tuesday video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.